Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. My name is Jonathan Cabrera. I'm your local real estate expert, and today I have an attorney with me who is going to discuss what the process is and what exactly the role that an attorney plays. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, thanks for spending a couple of minutes with me. Today I have the pleasure of sitting with Richard Klein, who is a partner with Romer Debass, an attorney for 30 years, exclusively working with real estate. Richard, thank you for being on the show.
Jonathan, thanks for having me today.
So, Richard, I'd like to have a couple of questions I'd like to ask you. First off, I want to start off with a lot of the states here in the United States don't use attorneys. Why does New York use one, and what's the importance of an attorney?
Well, New York uses one because we have a really strong attorney bar that makes sure that we don't lose this business. And I'm just joking a little bit. It's important. I don't know how other states do it, but it's important because for most people, buying a house is one of the biggest investments that they're going to make in their life.
Right.
And you really want to make sure that you're protected for when things go wrong. And that's really where the attorney becomes very important because, for example, if I'm representing a buyer and I'm reviewing that contract, I want to make sure it's contingent on financing. I want to make sure it's contingent on the buyer getting good title, that there are no issues. So if those things become a problem, my client can get out of the deal and get their deposit back. So, it's important to have an attorney in from the beginning, just to protect the parties.
Got it. You mentioned reviewing the contracts on the buying side. How does the working with a buyer and or seller differ? What exactly are you kind of looking for on both sides?
Well, when I'm representing a seller, I do some due diligence. I'll ask them, for example, a copy of the deed. I want to make sure how is the house held, what title. Because if I use the wrong names or don't have, left somebody out,
right,
that could slow. You want the process to go smoothly and as quickly as it can. So the more information I have before preparing a contract representing a seller, the better it's going to be down the road. So I want to see the deed. I want to know if there's a survey. I want to see a certificate of occupancy. If they're selling it as a two-family, is it a legal two-family?
Right.
And this way that when we go to contract, what's included, what appliances, what chandeliers, what personal property stays, what personal property goes. So that when you finally get to the closing table, there are no issues that are going to blow things up.
Right.
So representing the seller, I want to know that in terms of how to prepare the contract. And then when I'm representing a buyer, I'm also concerned about those things, but also how much are you financing? So for example, in a contract, it'll say that you can finance, let's say, up to $100,000. So if I don't discuss this with my client and they go and apply for $150,000 and don't get it,
right,
they blew the mortgage contingency clause. They're in default. They could lose their deposit. So I want to know my client, what their ambition, what their goals are. Closing dates. Are you in a rental? You have to be out by a certain amount of time. I want to make sure the closing date fits into what's going on with your situation.
Right.
So depending on what side you're sitting on, there are certain things you need to know from your client because the contract is like the most important document. Once you sign that, that pretty much governs how the deal's going to go.
What are some of the things that you look for in an agent to kind of ensure that from the moment you meet the client moving forward, everything kind of transitions smoothly?
Well, I like to work with agents who, first of all, stay in the deal after the contract's been signed. Some agents feel, okay, the contract's signed, I'm getting my commission, I don't have to do anything. But I find that they can be very helpful. Things come up. Closing dates are not fixed in stone. They're fluid.
Right.
Often I'll utilize the agent to help navigate, negotiate. Well, we thought we were closing on about March 15th, but now it's going to be March 30th. my broker can reach out to the other broker and make sure that that's smoothed over. It's not an issue. Things about what's staying and going in the house. Brokers are very helpful with that. And just in terms of inspections, mortgage brokers, I find that the real estate broker, the realtor, can be a tremendous source of information for my clients, and it can be helpful in that way.
The co-op laws just recently changed. Talk a little bit about that. What's new? How does it affect both the buyer and the seller, if any? Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, well, they changed here in Westchester County, and they're following from Rockland. Hasn't hit New York City yet, but we're waiting to see what happens. And what the law is, for anyone who's has had experience buying into a co-op, unlike a house, you negotiate the price, you sign a contract, and then it's pretty much getting your financing and you move forward.
Right.
With a co-op, you have to submit an application to the co-op board, and the board has to review that application, and they're going to say, yes, we approve this buyer, or no, we reject this buyer. And the new law was addressing, sometimes this could be an extremely long process.
Yeah.
Now, we all appreciate that people who serve on co-op boards, it's not their primary job, and it is like a full-time job. I get that they have a lot of other things going on,
right.
But still, to leave people hanging for 3, 4, 5 months, and then they'll say, no, we reject this deal, and you got to start all over again.
All time wasted.
If you've moved out already and you're carrying an empty apartment and you're paying maintenance, or you're buying and you gave up other deals and then you get rejected. So the new law provides that once you submit your application to the property manager, they have 15 days to say the application is complete or it's missing something. If they don't say anything by the 15th day, then it's deemed completed. And once you hit that 15th day and it's deemed completed, then the board has 60 days to make a decision.
Whether or not they want to interview you or not?
No, to make it, you have to be interviewed, and they have to make a decision within 60 days that we approve you or we reject you.
Got it, okay.
Okay? So at least, I know 60 days seems like a long time even still, but at least there's you see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. It beats that whole, waiting 3, 4, 5 months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, Jonathan, what they're trying to do now is that if you're rejected, while the board does not have to give you a reason as to why, the board does have to send a letter of the rejection to the Westchester County Human Rights Commission. And the Human Rights Commission is going to keep track of rejections in buildings. So if they see a particular building, and I'll use Scarsdale, and I don't mean anything about Scarsdale, but that there's a lot of rejections in a particular building, they might look into it and see, well, what's going on here?
Got it.
But like I said, the board doesn't have to give a reason, and if they are rejecting people for discriminatory reasons, obviously that's against the law.
Right.
But people feel this is going to be a way for the Human Rights Commission to maybe follow up and see what's going on.
Got it. Now, do they have to give a reason to the Human Rights? So not even to the okay.
Just the letter
that was rejected. Got it.
But they're going to keep statistics, and if they see there's one building with a lot of rejections, they might look into it and see what's going on here.
Awesome. Well, Richard, I appreciate your time. Thank you for all that wealth of information. If anyone is interested in an attorney, whether you're starting the process, buying or selling, I will put Richard's information on the comment sections down below, and just reach out to him. And even if you want to have some questions for him, you can reach out to him.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jonathan.
And one last question.
Yes.
Are you on social media?
I'm always on social media.
Cool. What's your handle?
Well, it's Romer Debass. If you go search Romer Debass, ROMERDEBAS. We have a Facebook page. We're on Instagram. We have our website, and we're all over the place. LinkedIn.
I'll also add those channels as well on the links below. Richard, thank you for your time.
Thanks,
I
Jonathan.
appreciate that.